this meeting of the Coomers and Toltec Scenic Railroad Commission to order. This is May the 11th at 9:03 a.m. Where's Rich? Oh, I couldn't see. Are you going to do our roll call stuff?
You can do roll call.
Oh, can we get a roll call, please?
I don't know how to do this, so please help me. I just say the names of each of you.
Commissioner Albrock here.
Commissioner Gibbs here.
Commissioner Graybold here.
Let the record reflect there is a quorum. Commissioner Casper is excused for this meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is courtesy of Tina Snyder. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Approve the agenda.
Second.
No changes. Nobody needs any changes. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. The agenda is approved as presented. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of February 17th regular commission meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved as presented. CTO reports. Ed?
Do I do it from here or? Okay.
Sit down and read. Perfect.
I'm just learning the ropes, so thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. I would like to change things a little bit from the way we've done this in the past and combine them as a group report. I think we can add a little more continuity and better understanding by doing it that way. We'll start with the mechanical. We'll proceed with the business portion as it involves the ridership and marketing, and then we'll finish up with the financial summary.
Great.
Okay.
Consent.
So to begin, Marvin, would you begin with the superintendent's report, please?
Okay, we're still working, trying to get that new coach finished up. We're looking at a target date of July 1st to be put into service. And then, other than that, we'll start with everything going on at Osier. We got a few issues at Osier that we got to take care of with some plumbing, some painting, stuff like that's going to happen, and we got all that scheduled to get started this following week. As we move forward on there, we'll get all our necessities in there, and we're looking. After a few conversations last night, we're looking at trying to see if we can have the dining hall completely ready by next Saturday, so they can go in and do whatever they need, and we'll be ready for when we do our media train across. So that's working up. I did get a chance to talk a little bit with John last night, and he'll try to be here on Wednesday, and we'll try to do it right across the whole railroad, make sure everything's cleaned up. We got enough clearances out of the way, and so we won't have any problems coming across. I got a couple of companies that are going to come in and do some work for us around the yard. That's stuff that we've contracted out, but we don't have the capability for, and they're coming in to help us with this new coach. And what this includes is working like on upholstery seats and stuff like that. So they're supposed to be in touch with me and see if they can get started on on Friday. If they get started on Friday, we'll be able to catch the bad seats on the regular train before we start the new seats. And then we'll get that caught up. If not, our intention is we'll come and pull the seats off here, take them down there, and he'll do them that evening, and then we'll bring them back in the morning for the following trains. So we have coordinated that, you know. We've got classes coming in this week. We got CPR classes for the people on the annual side, and that'll be on Tuesday. And then we also have a wildland fire suppression class that'll be held here at the Chama Fire Station class, and that'll be on Wednesday. On this class, State Forestry will be handling it, and my understanding also is we will have some of the Chama Fire Department that's going to be participating with them, joining us on this class also, so we'll be doing that also. On updates on PayCar app, we've sort of been holding that project up a little bit because we've been using Zelle to help us with cab work and pilot beams now on the locomotives. We sort of need the wood shop for that purpose, and sort of move stuff to where I think it's a little bit more important to get done. So, you know, that's, like I told Zell, that's on me, that's not him that's slowing down his work, but we're just trying to get stuff accomplished. You know, so we'll keep going on that. On our track work, like I said, we got the tracks clear all the way through, and we do have our rebuild temper coming in next week. It's getting shipped back, so we'll have it on site. It's supposed to arrive on Friday, and you know, we've been doing some work on. We got a couple places that we got to work on, which is we got to work on Long Creek on our culverts, and we're trying to get a contractor to come in and work with us on those, because it's going to be kind of a difficult process to try to slip some culverts in there. So that's still up in the air exactly how we're going to do it. But we have accomplished, or we're talking to somebody and they're interested, so that's going to happen. And also we've also met with Martin and Martin, our bridge inspectors, and we're going to be working on, we've got to replace some timbers this fall on that bridge, on the Cascade trestle. And the idea is we're trying to see if they'll come in and so that we can set them all straight. We got some are high and some are low, and trying to get, set it so the whole bridge would be straight, and that would work better for our bridge. There'll be less stress on our bridge once we do that. We did start moving some ballast this week. We moved about 700 tons of rock that's been scattered, and if we do get a chance next week, we might try to do a little bit of the one that sits up wet to try to make room to start getting the rest of it hauled in. That's basically where we're at right now. And like I said, we're pushing it to be ready for opening day, but we'll make it. We won't fail it.
Any questions for Marvin?
And are you going to touch on the locomotive status?
Locomotive, which locomotive you want me to talk about?
I think in general, our locomotive status is pretty good. We're going to have a minimum of 4 locomotives ready for opening day, and possibly even a 5th one. So some of the tightnesses we had in the past will be relieved. So I think it'll also give us more flexibility because we'll have both oil burners and coal burners available. The other good news is we're finally starting to get some coal as well. For all of last year, we were struggling to get coal out of the mine, particularly the one in Hesperus, and we had some backup from other spots, but Espers is now giving us go as well, so I think we'll be in a position to optimize the use of locomotives in terms of both fire protection and the cost of running them this year.
Terrific. Yeah, it was a very successful winter work season. And yeah, please pass on our thanks to the teams, because they got a bunch of work done.
Well, we used pretty much anybody that was willing to work the winter. You know, we took basically almost all the track crew in there, and they actually got taught how to do some of the locomotive work, some of the car work. And where this comes in favor for us is if we ever have a problem on the road and they're close by, they're ready to give us a hand, and they know what we're talking about or what we need. So, you know, that they're not just standing trying to figure out, well, what are they trying to do. They're going to know. And one thing that we did find out is we got several track guys that are actually very knowledgeable on that locomotive and on equipment that you use on it for repairs. So, you know, we've come a long ways. We used it where we needed help. At the same time, we used it as an educational platform to teach them, and they enjoyed it. I mean, we wouldn't be with our equipment caught up if they wouldn't have been there to help us. And I mean, it took everybody. It took everybody, you know, on both sides. Everybody willing to put some time in, and you know, put the effort in to get it done. You know, we had a couple of girls there that they never quit. They go in and help, you know, and get into the nitty gritty, you know, and a lot of times you don't see that, you know. And my thing is, it came up to show that this guy, all this crew, they care about what happens, and they want to make this thing work. They want, you know.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on getting the new coach, 526, as far along as you have in a very short period of time. It rolled into the shop as a skeleton last fall, and you can roll out a finished car in less than a year. That's a good accomplishment. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you want to comment on the new building?
Also, yeah, the new historical storage facility and wood shop over there, we finally got it just about completed. It got completed 3 weeks ago, and last week we got the county to go in and do the walkthrough, and they approved it. You know, we got a few minor things yet that's got to happen in there. We're waiting for Excel Energy to go in, and they got to change a power pole and move some wiring around to hook up. And once they go in, Mr. Candy, our electrician, told me that he would make it a point to go in and hook up all that wiring right away. But right now we are running on a temporary above ground line till Excel can get caught up on that. You know, so that is something that was long overdue. You know, it's finally been completed. It's, you know, actually looking at it now that it's completed and all that, it's a big building, and the workshop part of it at first seemed like, boy, this is going to be a nice box. We got done with the installation on and on. It's a nice place to work, you know, and it's not. The one thing, it's not loud. You know, that foam did a sound damper on it to where it's easy to work in there because you can talk to somebody and they can hear you. You know, compared to our shops over there, you got to really be close enough to talk to somebody and do stuff. You know, and in there, it's one heck of a big improvement.
Terrific. Lots of accomplishments.
And thank the guys for refinishing all the historic cars as well. That was a big task.
That's another thing that got done. We did get all the historic consoles painted. The only thing that we have not done on the historic consist is we have not lettered it, and we'll wait and see when we get a chance to do that.
I think what Marvin is really giving you a great overview of a lot of stuff that's coming together. I mean, you think about the support we've been receiving from both of our owners in the state to support our capital efforts. It's enabled him to keep people like the track folks that normally we wouldn't be able to keep during the winter time, helping with some of the other work that needs to be done, and at the same time learning skills, retaining these people so that they don't go and find other jobs. The new facility, again, coming out of the HPA program, which is our historic preservation that's been in place for a few years now. It's a coordinated effort to bring things together so that we can get a lot done. And I think it's starting, Marvin's folks have done a great job this winter of accomplishing all that.
It's not Marvin, it's the crew.
Oh, I said folks.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a nobody unless I got that whole crew. You know, and they all showed up to work.
Very much a team effort. When you go over there, you feel that team effort. You really do, because they are working together and working hard and working efficiently. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Marvin. I did forget one thing, Ed. I would like to introduce and welcome Ed Bodette as our interim general manager. Ed stepped up to help our to run the railroad and get us through the season and get everything working and in order. And Ed, thanks a lot. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
You can have the floor again.
I'm just a young guy, so I can keep doing this. I've got energy left.
And maybe just briefly, how long have you been with the railroad?
It's hard to believe. I retired once a long time ago and got involved with especially with Ronnie. He was always looking for a spare brakeman or something to help out, and got more and more involved as time went on, and have had the opportunity to interact with this great group of folks now for 15 years. And it's been great. It's been challenging at times, but it's really been a great experience. So I'm really honored to be able to work and continue to try to help out. And what we do here is important. It's important to both the economies, to the historical relevance of what we do. It's important to people, and I really feel great about being a part of it.
Oh, thank you. And I know how important it is to understand the multitude of aspects of the railroad and the job, and your knowledge of finance, governmental relations, as well as the operations and the mechanical is greatly appreciated.
Thank you. I'm more than willing and happy to be here.
Thanks.
Okay, and I'd like to shift the focus a little bit now. Marvin's given you a good overview of the mechanics of what's going on and how we get ready to run trains, which we'll be doing in a couple of weeks. I'd like to take it now to the other side, which is putting people on trains. So, Abby, would you come forward and give us an overview of how things are going in that respect?
Yes, did you want me to do some of the reservation portion, or do you want to do that?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
Yes.
Complete summary.
Okay, yep, no problem. So overall reservations, they are holding strong. We are ahead of where we were last year at this point. We are seeing a lot of changes in the ridership that is coming, where last year majority of the reservations were, just non-group people, just the individuals riding, where this year majority of our ridership, it is coming from our group numbers. So our groups, they are holding strong. I think what we did see initially when we opened up the reservation system, we had the normal influx of let's hurry and book our tickets. I want a fall color seat in the parlor car on a weekend, or I want to ride on a weekend. So that is what we saw initially. Now it has slowed down, it has softened up a little bit in the last, in the last month or so. However, this past week, ticket reservations, they are coming in more readily as of this last week, but there for a while they did soften up just a little bit. So on the marketing side of things, everything pretty much turned the light switch on from in the month of April, and then of course now in May, so there are a lot more ads out there. Overall, what we're seeing, it is also different from what we saw last year in regards to some of my digital stuff that is running. Last year, a lot of the conversions, when they saw the ad online, they clicked, they go to the website, and then they booked it. Majority of that chunk of conversion, it was coming from like a Google search, just a generic Google search conversion, where this year it is coming more from videos and Facebook ads. So that is one big change that we're seeing. So that was also the similar flow of things after COVID. So it's kind of going back. So it is different. So I have done some things to change now that I know what some of the outlook is going to be. Instead of waiting till end of July to try and change something, kind of know from here on out what the story is going to tell. So I have done some changes already on the digital side of things, just to help optimize everything. And overall, the key goal is to put as much riders in seats as we can this year. So that is the overall goal. On the social media side, what we're seeing is on Facebook, the posts that do the best are more of the historical accuracy of the railroad and the still photos. Where you turn the page on Instagram, they are short videos, no more than 30 seconds. Anything over 30 seconds kind of doesn't get any looks, and people just are scrolling. Why is that? That's probably because we're dealing with two completely different demographics from Facebook to Instagram. Instagram, you have more of your millennials who, after 15, 20 seconds of watching something, we're like, okay, next. Unfortunately, that's just how we are and how we're wired. From the PR side of things, we do have a media train coming up on May 21st. We have invited a lot of different media outlets. We are expecting about 30 total people from the media on that train on May the 21st. I will be going to Albuquerque this week actually to do a live interview on KOB Channel 4 during the noon time. So the PR media side of things, it is also picking up going into season overall. Other than that, I think that pretty much sums up my report, unless anybody has any questions for me.
It's good that you're being agile and seeing where the trend is going and reacting immediately. That's very important, and it's very good. And I definitely see it in businesses all around. Things are starting to soften up a bit. So
Yeah, I mean, at first, I was like, what's going on? But like you said, it's not just us, it's just the business in the world per se. If you watch things, Rich actually let us know yesterday, for example, Disneyland, they are also they're already anticipating to slow down a little bit in regards to ticket sales. So they're already adjusting, and they've already offered like a 3-day $90 ticket. So everybody, I think, in general is going to see that little bit of a slow start. So I'll continue to do what I can, change some things. What I thought might have worked this season might not work, so I'll have to just continue to watch that carefully and change things throughout the season.
And we brought down the coach ticket price, is that correct?
That is correct. We did drop the coach ticket price by $20 in the summer season. So hopefully that will play to our advantage going into season as well.
Yeah, so that should be an advantage for people who want to come up with a little
Yep, and then of course we also have that short Friday trip that we're offering again starting end of June through July, and that is a reduced ticket price as well, just because it is a shorter trip, so at least we have more options for everybody.
Right, and that's important, that we be accessible to more people and keeping the ticket prices reasonable as possible. It optimizes our ridership when we can attract people in the summer months when we're a little slower last year than we anticipated.
Right.
I think, oh, sorry.
And the premium services are staying.
Super strong, yes, yeah, yep. Typically, parlor car seats on select days, especially I already looked in the fall, we're almost sold out. There's a couple here, a couple there. Obviously, we did add that additional departure from Chama in the fall that also does have parlor, so that's a totally new product. It leaves at a different time. So that is starting to fill up now that people are like, I didn't get the 10 a.m. departure. Well, I still want to ride parlor. I'll hop on the 9 a.m. departure.
Terrific.
I think the focus that Abby's pointing out about media is important to note in that if you think about any type of interaction with the public, people don't turn on the news to watch the commercials. They want to see the storylines. So media stories that we can get, the same thing with the print media. People don't buy magazines or newspapers or anything to read the ads for the most part. They want to see the content that's in there. So by focusing on the media and getting as much exposure as we can there, I think it's a good focus that Abby's working on now to get us exposure, not only in people's interest, but it's lower cost too. So hopefully that's going to help us as we work our way through the summer. Great, thank you, Abby. Now that we get to the basics, we like to say we run trains, and we carry people, and we give them a great experience, but we can't do it without the financial support. And Alicia's been working very hard to keep us whole. We're stressed all the time financially in this marketplace, and it's quite a balancing act to keep us whole and being able to provide these things that mechanical, all the various pieces of the organization accomplish. So at this point, we'll give Alicia a chance to sum up how the various components of the organization are coming along right now.
Thanks, Ed. Good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to do a quick overview, a summary of just a few things that are going on specifically in my department. So we are approaching fiscal year end. This year, our audit will be a little bit different. So we are, per our policy, we have to alternate states when it comes time to auditors. So it's about 6 years, and our 6 years with New Mexico is up. So we'll be looking for an auditor in Colorado. We met about 2 months ago with both state auditor offices, both Colorado and New Mexico, and they gave us a little bit of guidance on how we are going to approach the audits. So New Mexico has a little bit more strict guidelines. So Colorado's a little bit more lenient, so we don't see a hard November 1st deadline for the audit to be submitted. But after speaking with them, we came to an agreement, or the states, came to an agreement that we will be doing the same state audit rule for New Mexico. So we'll be following the November 1st deadline submission to the state of New Mexico, as well as New Mexico does require, they have a set list of auditors that we can choose from, and we aren't going to have to choose from that list specifically, but they did ask with Colorado that we have a certified CPA that does our audit for us, and that they're not on the bad list. So we want to make sure of that as well. But we will have that November 1st deadline to be submitted to both states. So we're just getting ready for that, preparing a budget for fiscal year 25. The budget adjustments, which are the bars for New Mexico, are due May 17th. As of now, it doesn't look like we're going to have to do any budget adjustments. but we have a week to decide that. Let's see. Our internal policy and procedure documents, we've separated that, so now we see a policy and we have a procedure. So we are not audited based off of our procedures, but that's something that the auditors may want to look at just to make sure that we are in compliance with our own rules that we are setting internally. We aren't too sure what our audit will look like this year as far as what our auditors are going to be looking for. We've gotten pretty comfortable with New Mexico, although they are a little bit more strict, but we're not too sure with Colorado how things will go this year. I'm just going to go into a little bit of detail with each fund as I do every meeting. I'll start off with HPA and commission. Those are pretty quiet for this time of year. HPA, we don't see a change in our P&L statement. We won't see a change in that until the end of May, when we start getting our operational revenue hitting the P&L statement. In commission, it's pretty quiet around this time of year. We'll start seeing our supports from both states come in about July 1, so we'll see the general fund support come into the commission account, usually about July 1. Into August is when we'll start seeing that. Into CTO, so our P&L statement, this is one of our, right around this time of year, and it seems like a lot of people do experience this around these hard months, I guess we can call it. So we are keeping a close eye on the operating budget, the expenses that are running through operations, just to make sure that we are able to be okay through the first couple of operating months. We have on the P&L statement, we do see the revenue for the first quarter of the fiscal year. That just comes from our income sales and our retail sales. In our capital entity, we are spending down our ARPA funds. So I think Ed and Scott and a few of you can touch on this a little bit after, but we were supposed to have our commitments for ARPA, but with the change in political party, I don't know. We're not too sure what that looks like as of now, but we are spending down that money. Capital will be coming to slowly starting to as we alternate into the operating season. So a lot of our employees will be in the operating side of things, but that shouldn't affect. I just wanted to make a comment, and this is something that we talked about yesterday. So, and Abby pointed out a good point to me yesterday, but I was seeing some decrease in, so with New Mexico Motor Vehicle Department, we do our license plate. And I was noticing for a couple months now that we're decreasing in that, so our income from that is decreasing. And Abby let me know that they don't have them here. So she went in to renew her plates and get her plates, and they don't have them here. So I guess that kind of, we see that in the commission account. So on our income side, I did see a decrease in that. But I just wanted to point that out because I think a lot of people do have our plates. But I think that's it for me. If there's any questions, comments, concerns.
Thank you for having a good grasp of this very, very complicated financial system that we have with monies coming in from 2 different states, plus the revenue we're generating, capital projects, ARPA funds. It's just, it is far from a simple process that we have here. So thank you and your team.
Yeah, I thought I lived in a complicated world in the private sector with a big company. I've learned complexity here that I never saw in that world. We're a government entity. We're very, very highly regulated, both from the operating side, from the people side, and the financial as well. So I feel that this all goes under the radar so often that we've got key people that are taking care of us there that don't necessarily get the credit they deserve. So I appreciate it. sitting in this chair now.
And there's just one additional comment that I would like to make. So aside from our annual fiscal year-end audit, we will also, on top of that, have a single audit this year. And that's for our government, or the ARPA funds that we did receive. So we'll have a single audit for that as well, on top of our fiscal year-end audit.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple of pieces that I would also want to include. One thing I learned in the prior life was that investing in the workforce and employees is very important. And one of the key ways you do that is in the area of safety and health and welfare. Stephen actually engaged Mike Ramsey from, he's a retired FRA inspector and actually began his career here at the Cumbres and Toltec to do an open assessment of how we do business, operating practices, safety practices, record keeping and stuff. And these are all key things to developing our workforce and developing the systems that maintain our workforce and make us competitive in recruiting as well. So he's enabled us to get a good roadmap, and Rich and Roseanne are taking on the role of shepherding a lot of that work that normally would be very difficult to do in an enterprise as small as ours. And in the long run, I think will provide us with better operations and a better prepared workforce to support what we're doing here. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to do. People see trains running out there and think, well, that's great, but it takes a whole lot behind the scenes to make it work. And the other thing that I would like to point out, again, the support of our owners, the states of New Mexico and Colorado. They've seen to our needs, our capital needs. Both of the legislatures have now finished their seasons. New Mexico came through with not only the normal appropriations that we get to support commission operations and capital work, but support for a couple of other important projects as well. Colorado, the same thing. It's a little different cycle. We're recognized differently in the state of Colorado than we are in New Mexico, but it's the same issue where both states have shown the responsibility to support what they own. And not only are they supporting the appropriations that were anticipated, but they've also seen fit to add another large piece, a $500,000 piece, to help us in fire mitigation, which is important. Being good citizens, we do want to protect the environment around us, and that extra help we're going to get from Colorado is going to make our jobs better and allow us to more safely operate this railroad. So both states, they're kicking in, they're doing their parts, they're showing confidence in our ability to do what they want us to do down here. So with that, I'd say my colleagues have, I think, given a pretty good summary of where we stand in various aspects of how we run the business. At this point, I say that they talk about the State of the Union address. This is the State of the Railroad address right now. So if you gentlemen have any further questions, I'd entertain them now.
I appreciate your comments about Mike Ramsey coming over and the state support. The thing that I'll point out about Mike coming over in many other instances, we really have a great relationship with Durango and Silverton, and they have been very helpful in a multitude of ways. And of course, we try and return those favors anytime. It's really nice to have a community of tourist railroads who work so well together and really want to see each other succeed. So just felt we needed to point that out.
The Durango and Silverton have been friends of ours for a long time. People look at us as competitors, but they're friends. And other railroads like the Georgetown Loop, even we work together with them as well. The Colorado Railroad Museum. There is a real fraternity of operators in this industry, and it's great to be able to work together with them.
It's really important, and there are leverages that we can take advantage of because each railroad has its little areas of expertise, and sometimes we can even get together on purchases like wheels and other things where we can get bigger orders together and save money because of a bigger scale.
We were able to purchase a lot of spare parts for coal burning equipment from the Durango and Silverton as they converted to oil, which will help keep the coal burning fleet here healthy for quite a while.
Terrific.
With that, that completes our report.
Thanks, Ed. Local affairs, Commissioner Cashford usually reports on that. I don't have anything for it. I haven't heard anything negative, which is good, so always a plus if you don't. Capital projects report.
First of all, let me congratulate the crews in both Antonito and Chama for the amount of capital project work that got finished this year. I'll summarize a couple of those things. I'll give a status real quick of 114. The railroad, as a lot of people understand, purchased White Pass and Yukon locomotive 114, which is a 1,200 horsepower diesel electric, last fall. It is currently sitting in Skagway, Alaska, waiting on a barge to move from Bellingham, Washington up to Skagway so it can be loaded and brought down to the lower 48. Hamilton Construction is handling that move, and once it gets to Bellingham, it'll move down here either by rail or by truck. So that is in process and moving along. Marvin was maybe a little bit bashful or not willing to tout the horn of all of the mechanical group that and all the work they got done. It's been kind of amazing this year. 168 will be ready. 463 has been through a 5-year flexible stable inspection, which requires removing the cab and putting it all back on. 484 also got a 5-year inspection, and so it's back and ready to go. 488 will be ready. 489 will be ready. 484 and 489 got running gear overhauls during the course of this period. A tremendous amount of work got done on locomotives. He already mentioned the new coach, 526, painting all the historic cars. The amount of work that got done this winter is absolutely incredible. And I just want to say thank you very much to all the employees that worked so hard over the last several months to make that all happen. And I've had a number of inquiries about where's 492. It has had the front end disassembled, the cab has been removed, preparations for removing tubes are being made, air compressors being rebuilt, the mechanical lubricators being rebuilt, the dynamos being rebuilt. Mark mentioned the collaborations with the Durango and Silverton. The Durango and Silverton has a contractor that they work with. They designed a whole set of side rods, main rods, and valve gear components. The C&Ts was able to purchase not one set, but 2 sets of rods from the DNS. So we'll have 1 spare set after we put a set on 492. So work is progressing on 492. You just don't see much of it right now because a lot of it's being done off-site by various contractors. I'm done.
Any questions, comments?
Good report, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Tim? Friends of the... Do you have color pictures this time?
Pictures?
Color pictures.
Yeah, color pictures in here.
Okay.
I don't have color pictures.
Thank you.
I don't have a nice video like John did today. Express page.
As the railroad's getting ready for its opening day, we've got our work session season coming up as well. I threw the dates back in there again of our sessions. Session A will begin on Monday, May 20th. And overall, I think our registrations are a bit off, but there's a lot of time yet. You'll see we got 20 people coming for A, 19 for B, 53 right now for C, but it's early, and 53 for D so far. So anyway, hopefully we'll get a few more folks signing up for those sessions. Then in June, we'll, when we've got folks here between C and D, we'll be doing our annual member train, and I've been talking to Becky again. I think we'll be doing the barbecue there first, and then we'll talk to Ed about taking a train ride up to Cumbres for our members and back. So that'll be on the 21st. 22nd, we have our board of directors meeting here in Chama. Next item, for those of you who knew Vern Glover or knew of him, he passed away a few weeks ago, and Vern was very integral working with Spencer Wilson on for those of you who've ever read the historic preservation study about the railroad. So Vern was a real New Mexico Railroad historian. So, and he contributed some money back in 06 and 07 when we bought the Dorman photo collection. So, but so anyway, Vern passed away. Coming up in July, we've got the Moonlight Wine Train, working with Ed on that. We're working on a 4 o'clock departure right after 2:15 comes in. So I've talked to Victoria. She'd given me a price on the meal that evening. So we'll just have to work out the details of that train. And then, as I've mentioned many times when I'm here, we continue to work on our increasing our membership. So we're going to do another classic train solicitation, and we usually get a pretty good response with that. I see it's kind of old school, but it seems to work when we're trying to bring in new members. So we're going to do that again to a number of assorted states and see how that works out. We've been trying to help on the USA Today vote. We've been sending out, I think we've sent out 3 e-blasts to our membership, and then we've also social media-wise put it on Facebook and this and that. So we're trying to do everything we can, Abby. So it was disheartening when we were 4th place for a while, but then there was a real good bump. We got into 2nd. Now, of course, we don't know. We can't see where everybody is, but anyway, we try and do what we can. And then the photos I put in there, fellas, are what John talked about yesterday, the work we're doing on Express Bay Car 163 in Colorado Springs. So the work they made on the sills, and so every other week the fellows are working on that. So I think they're making some real progress. So there you go. But I think that's it for the moment. So thanks for all the support, and hopefully you'll have a good work session season and get a few things done and that sort of thing. So
as always, thanks so much to the press. You guys are just amazing in how much you get known, and as I've said many times in these meetings, we wouldn't be here in this position without you. So thank you.
well, it's been interesting over 20 years as I I'm not quite yet fading into the sunset, but I mean, as my 20 years that Judy and I have been in New Mexico when we've been here, you know how things have really changed, and I say that from a perspective of when I got here, we had almost to the point where C&D we had to limit the number of people that came, and now it's just the opposite, where that's the biggest part of the challenge we have for the organization, is the volunteers that want to come and work. So it's just a demographics type of situation. So hopefully we come up with some solutions, but we've still got a lot of dedicated folks that love to work here in Chama and those that love to work in Antietam. So we just keep working at that, and whoever follows in my footsteps, that will be one of I think the biggest challenges is to do what we can to keep the historical assets in good order, and then also staffing the trains with docents. So anyway, so there you go. So thanks, appreciate everything you do for us. So
Thank you. Tracks across borders, Byway? Anybody have anything on that?
Yeah, good morning. Just for the record, I'm John Porto. I think most of you know me, but Executive Director of Tracks Across Borders. I've got a bit of a cold, so I apologize if my voice is a little strained. But we appreciate the opportunity to speak. I think just like the relationship between the Friends and the railroad, I think there's a mutually beneficial relationship between the Byway and the railroad, since our goal is to encourage travel to Chama, Durango, and everywhere in between. So again, we appreciate the opportunity. I'll be very brief. A couple of items that may be of interest. We're very optimistic that our proposal to extend the Byway from Chama northeast on Highway 17 to the Colorado border will be approved. Our goal there is to connect Tracks Across Borders with Los Caminos Antiguos, which starts at the border, runs over Cumbres Pass, through Antonito, and then circles the San Luis Valley. At the other end, at the Durango end, we connect with the San Juan Skyway. So this would create a byway network, if you will, between San Luis Valley, Durango, and beyond, which I think would encourage a lot more through traffic on the byways. We've been in consultation with the North Central New Mexico Economic Development Organization, which is the transportation planning organization that has to approve this, and they seem very supportive. So I don't anticipate any problem with that. Once that happens, we'll be searching for some funding to put up some signage. You may have noticed driving up toward Cumbres Pass that Los Caminos Antiguos has quite an elaborate display, sign display right at the border. So again, we're very anxious to connect. Second item is we reported before, I think, and I think you're aware that we got a grant from the Colorado Tourism Office for some expertise, consulting expertise, which that grant process is ongoing. We're developing an expanded marketing plan for the Byway. We're looking at improving our web page, our website, and our Facebook presence. We have a fairly active Facebook presence, and I will mention that we do watch the railroad and the Friends both, and we repost quite a number of articles that we pick up on both of those Facebook sites. We repost on ours. I don't think we get a huge number of clicks, but we do get some. Excuse me. And in addition, then, part of the grant is we're developing a sponsorship program. One of the drawbacks that we've faced over the years, in the 9 years we've been around, is we have no consistent funding source to do things like interpretive signs and better handout materials, etc. So we're working on developing a sponsorship program where businesses along the byway that have an interest in the byway could perhaps provide a small stipend to support byway activities. And we certainly thank the railroad for the support that we've received over the years, particularly with the app. Third item is that we were looking at making some progress on replacing the 2 dilapidated, decrepit stock cars in Dulce, thanks to the Friends and a number of cooperating organizations. I think we're moving toward solving that issue, which will be very helpful to the Hickoryas. They are remodeling or slightly expanding their cultural center in Dulce, which is where the stock cars sit in front of. I'm sure you've all seen those. So replacing those stock cars, I think, would be a big boost to the tribe. The railroad, those sheep stock cars particularly, were very important to the tribe, particularly up into the 30s when they used to raise huge amounts of sheep. And that was one of their main commodities for economic development of the reservation. So I think it's quite important to try to get those replaced. So I think that's all I have to say. We are meeting actually next Friday here in Chama at the Victorian B&B at John Bush's B&B. If anybody's interested in joining us, we certainly welcome any participation. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, and I do have some rack cards, which I'll bring in if anybody wants to pick up a rack card. A little more about the byway. Thank you.
Thanks for your efforts.
Pardon me?
Thank you for your efforts.
Oh, well, we're trying. Pretty hard, actually.
We don't have any old business. We don't have any new business. We do have some resolutions coming up that we will need to call a special meeting in the very near future. So when those are ready to go, we'll send out a notice to get everybody's schedule. We don't need an executive session, do we? Last question.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 10:01. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour.